Welcome to the Ethan Young podcast. You are never going to believe it, but I'm Ethan Young, and I appreciate you tuning in. I got to start out by giving my boy Vince McMahon props. Congratulations, brother, on producing and choreographing the 2022 Oscars. I'm sure everybody's seen it by now. Chris Rock gets bitch slapped by Will Smith. When I first saw it, I was certain it was staged. I was like, there's no way the security would ever allow that. At all the places, you would think that there may be some lower level comedy clubs throughout the Midwest or even some other parts of the country that don't have proper security. I guess even you've heard stories about like the Comedy Store at times, because they were all comedians, where like you heard Joe Rogan or Ari Shaffir or any of the people that obviously do tell these stories about working there, and even the security at those times was not that impressive. It's surprising that at the Oscars, the security allowed, I guess they didn't expect, but my point in saying that is, that's what I first think is like, okay, this shit's got to be staged. And then after further thought, I'm like, okay, there's probably some merit to this situation that we've all, seen either live or afterward. I still would not. Excuse me. I would not put it past an executive at ABC. I could totally see somebody that actually does set up the Oscars having some interest in establishing an altercation fictionally in order to captivate an audience. Because it's pretty obvious that, like, so many more people, as an example, I didn't have any interest in tuning into the 2022 Oscars. The only reason that I even know what happened is because of the headlines and the videos that trailed thereafter. There's no way, if it was just people standing on the podium giving their human rights speech or signaling to whatever director they want to be in the next movie for, or signaling to their governor or whoever it is that they feel like they need to virtue signal towards, or, signal to their tribe, I wouldn't have watched it. There wouldn't have been no reason for that to attract my attention. But because of the headline of what happened, immediately I have interest, of course. So, again, seems a lot more like a WWE skit than an actual realistic depiction of actors that somehow we all look up to for some reason or another in a real situation. I can't even fucking believe that. But I will say, I mean, it's so easy for us all, for anybody, and I'm not saying what Will Smith did was right, but it's so easy for any one of us to make a judgment not having been in that scenario. Because personally, I can easily see how Will Smith made that decision. If you're approached with that, you may feel like your ability to defend your woman is being questioned. You may feel like 100% easily that your ego is being coming into question. Excuse me. You may feel like you need to defend your ego. Your ego is certainly coming into question. There's so few people, I believe, in my personal opinion, on this earth that wouldn't have their ego come into play being fucking slapped, or being, feeling like their woman was being called out in front of everybody. And who knows? I mean, I've seen more articles since then, but it sounds like Chris Rock was poking fun at Jada Smith, but that's his fucking job. You know what I mean? Like, that's what everybody pays him for. That's what everybody loves him for and continues to hire him for. That's what he was hired for that fucking night, you know? So it's like, that's what he does. So my point in saying that is, one, it would be so easy for Chris Rock's ego to come into play, being slapped in front of so many people, the audience literally ridiculous. And then also you can see where Will Smith's ego would have come into play, in the sense that if he feels like his, ability to defend his woman is coming into question, and obviously there's a lot more going on. I shouldn't say obviously. It would seem like there's a lot more going on because of the way he reacted. However, he had seconds to respond. So if that live event was real in the sense of the timing between when it happened and when he responded, I mean, how many people could truthfully say that if they were in that same situation and their wife was being made fun of and they had seconds to think about it, that they would always make the right decision? Because sadly, I believe it's very few. I believe that, for instance, Chris Rock stands amongst very few, in the sense that he was able to get slapped in the fucking face in front of so many fucking people, and he stood there and even was just willing to address it. Like, he's like, Will Smith just slapped the shit out of me, and I shouldn't put like anything on it, but I believe so few people have the composure or ability to be slapped in front of anybody and not want to immediately redeem themselves. I personally know that I've been slapped in front of just a few people, let alone thousands, let alone millions that may end up seeing this later on. And Chris Rock, for instance, was able to stand there, make a comment about it, keep his composure. Yeah, he fucked up and flubbed a couple lines, mixed up a couple words, I guess is the true way to put it. But truthfully, I think few people can keep themselves together and keep, I mean, like, that's like Buddhist monk style fucking ego in check shit. Granted, he literally was releasing like some tour the following couple days about, like, whatever. I don't even know what it is, but it has to do with ego. My point in saying that is both of their egos clearly came into check. Another thing that I think you have to think about, or at least come into play, is the pussy whipped aspect. The pussy whipped aspect. I'm sorry I flubbed through that myself. But the idea is, you have to realize he's going home to face Jada. I fucking say Jada just like I say meme for fucking meme for meme for meme. I say meme for meme. Sometimes I say Jada for Jada because I'm an idiot. It is what it is. And I'm not trying to like talk bad about myself. I just mean I flubbed that word and it's easy. I should be able to figure it out. So I say that's, idiotic. But I'm not trying to talk, you know what I mean? So, no idea what I was talking about now. Sick, dude. Fuck yeah. I know we were talking about ego, and clearly both egos came into play. Again, I think few people would be able to react right. And then, so it's like, you have to think about the pussy whipped aspect. The fact that he has to go home and face Jada when he gets home. So she could easily say, hey, Chris Rock humiliated me again, and you did nothing. You did nothing to protect me. You did nothing to care for me. And it's like, how many times has she fucking humiliated him in the last couple of years anyway? It's like, I mean, I know some people are playing the gay card or whatever, but like, I saw some clips from that Red Table Talk, and if I was in his position, I would have felt fucking humiliated. So it's like, it even seemed to me, if I was if I was analyzing his behavior right after the incident happened, it looked like he was laughing. It literally looked like he was laughing, and then he realizes again in the few seconds that he has to respond, it looks like he realizes, oh shit, she's unhappy. I need to respond or I'm going to be facing this later. So again, I think there's just a little bit of an aspect to the whole like pussy whipped thing. I'm sorry to say, but whatever it is, the situation, the relationship that he has between him and Jada that he has to respond to. Because I think personally that's what came into play more than anything. And yeah, I mean, other than that, I don't know. It's like I think I'm not saying what he did was right. You can't justify doing that. Obviously, the right thing to do is sit there and take it and find some way to realize that Chris Rock's just doing his job. He's just doing his job, and he's not trying to talk shit. And you know what I mean? I don't know. People have even said that they've known each other or worked together over the years. So it's like he has some awareness of what Chris Rock's job is there to do. And at the end of the day, is that really that bad? I mean, I guess as somebody that's fortunate to have their hair, if I was a bald guy, I'd probably be so insecure and like, that would be an important thing to take. I don't know. And I understand that's not just, she's got alopecia or whatever it is, but it's just like, even the joke itself is like, he clearly overreacted, but can't we all put ourselves in those shoes? Can't we all put ourselves in the shoes where we had few seconds to respond? Dude, I feel like there's even been days where like, I felt like, hey man, my ego's in check. I really got my shit in order. And even later that day, even later in the same day, something will come to question my ego or come to test my ego. And even a day where the morning I was certain that my ego was in check, something will test me in the evening and I fail that test. So it's just like, again, I feel like there's so many people that have talked so much shit that truthfully if put in that position, and I'm not trying, I guess it's like, you don't need to make the situation fictional. I was like, we could add all kinds of fictional factors that don't exist to like show like, and then what would you do? But just the situation as it is, I think there are a number of people in the population that would make the same decision Will did, and maybe even not be, not even come out with the words. You know what I mean? Have you ever been so fucking angry that you can't even get the words out right? Like, I saw actor in him. It's really weird to say, but like when I saw him like screaming again at the end and trembling and everything like that, it was so weird. It felt more like he was playing a role to me. I know that sounds fucking crazy, but it was more like, again, if I was a betting person, my first reaction would have been to say this was staged. If I was a betting person later on, my second reaction after watching it again and kind of analyzing it again would be to say he felt like he was going to have to face Jada. And that's where I'd probably put my money and say like he felt like he had to put on a show. And that's where I see like his reaction is like, yeah, I mean, again, everybody can say that's not the right thing to do, but fuck, man. You know how it is. Like, maybe you don't. Maybe you're not. Maybe you don't get tested often enough. Maybe I'm fucking tested too easily. You know what I mean? But like, I could easily see myself in that scenario, unfortunately, and especially with the amount of eyes that were watching. You know what I mean? No, I fucking even can't. No, I can't because of the amount of eyes that were watching. Imagine that. Imagine if you felt like your ability to defend your woman or whatever silly thing he has going on, it could be so much more than that. It could be so much less than that. We don't fucking know. Really, nobody actually knows what would make somebody react in that way. But with the amount of eyes that are watching, you could so easily behave in a way that you wouldn't normally. And it's the only person that knows is him. The only person that knows is him because he was there. You know what I mean? And then I've even thought about really fucking stupid stuff, like where like he in years past, he was like, he was like, oh, I would have stood up for you, babe. I would have been there. I would have fucking taken care of him. But we've just, I'm never there when he brings it up. And so, it'd be weird. It'd be fucking weird if I went in and like, try to talk to him about something that he, I bring it up and like it's not even present subject, so he's literally in the room for the first time while it's happening, and he's made some prior fucking statement to Jada that he's got to meet up to, you know what I mean? Like I've even tried to come up with fictional scenarios for him, many, and then I get added like factors that don't make any sense, but I just think it's so easy to jump on him. And it's funny. I made that video and I used his name, but I had literally made that before that whole deal even happened. Obviously this is my first video after this event. So it was just interesting. But there was other people that same thing happened. But I think I was gonna say like Bert Kreischer. He had a video where he's talking about Will Smith right before the fucking Oscars as well, and it was just coincidental that fucking he happened to mention him weeks before actually. Like it was in my case, but I just saw that he used that fucking song, and now I can't remember which one it was. I remember the 3 artists that I had stood out, but none of that matters. But anyway, point being, I just think everybody should be a little more empathetic in the sense that how many of us could really know what we would do with that many eyes on us, and even again, like, maybe you're having your greatest morning and your ego's in check that day, but it could be the next day a completely different story. It seems like I thought of this dumb thing the other day, like fucking pre-workout, like me, it's dumb the way it came out. It sounds dumb that I was about to say it, but it's like I was like pre-workout daddy is not as good as post-workout daddy, you know what I mean? But then I don't like to refer to myself like that, but it was the idea is like I feel like I'm a better father, and I feel like I'm a better person, and I feel like I'm a better member of my family between me and my son after I've worked out. Like I'm such a just fucking dickhead, asshole, grumpy piece of shit all the time, actually, but a little bit less after I work out, which is really nice. So there's that. And, again, maybe the fucking whole Oscars thing is just going to be a sign to those people that watched and realized, like, holy shit, you can captivate an audience and get so many people's attention. Again, going WWE style, which then makes you think about fucking Mike Judge and how he made Idiocracy. And who knows if he was, like, literally looking into the future thinking, like, wow, our society is actually headed in this direction, or he just tried to make the silliest, craziest fucking movie ever. And if you haven't seen it, go rent it, watch it, download it, whatever the fuck you got to do. I say rent it makes me think about going to like a video store, but people don't do that anymore. But I will be right back. All right, I'm back. I was just saying that we should watch, or excuse me, not we. Well, whatever. But that you should watch Idiocracy if you haven't seen it. But even the presidential, like, political gatherings or like C-SPAN style events are like more of a WWE style in the movie, and that's much more captivating. And again, I think it would attract a larger audience than if you're just I would have never fucking tuned in to those Oscars or the clips or anything about it if that wouldn't have happened. And so, again, that was my first inclination of why it'd be fake, because perfect way to draw me in. Perfect way to bait me on in. What else have I got baited into recently? Nothing really that cool. My son asks really funny questions. I wish I could have his mind all the time. Because right, I mean, it's like inhibited by inhibited. Is inhibited the word? Should I look it up? Probably not. Uninhibited. It can't be inhibited. I probably don't even want to chance it. It's unaffected. It's like you know what I mean. It's not like he needs drugs or some sort of substance. Like, he's just got this creative mind, and as long as I don't fuck it up, or you know what I mean, like, you know what I mean, scold him into not what's the word I'm trying to think of, embracing that, then he'll just have that. But he asked me, he was like, who's the first person to plant a seed? And I didn't know the fucking answer. I know it sounds dumb. I didn't even think about it hard enough to think that there's probably not an easy answer. Like, I somewhere it said the first time that we realized that happened was like 8,000 to 9,000 years ago. So there's no way that we could have any sort of record, because clearly they didn't keep but they didn't actually. They were more implied things, but I believe what they were saying is the record keeping was not something that we still have, or was as good a quality 8,000 to 9,000 years ago. So we can't tell who the first person to turn plant to seed was. Another guy that came up was Jethro Tull, which I feel like I've heard that, but I think I thought it was like a band or something, to be honest. If you heard Jethro Tull, maybe it is a band. Is it also a band? Jethro Tull sounds like a band to me. Like, if you were like, Jefferson Starship and Jethro Tull are going to be at the fucking Woodstock after party, I'd be like, yep, totally believe that happened. That's a fucking band poster that I would see. I don't know. If I could have put that sentence together better, that probably would have been a better thing to say. But yeah, Jethro Tull. If you don't know who he is, I actually had to look it up because I wasn't sure. You're like, dude, don't fucking tell us who Jethro Tull is. Nobody gives a fuck who Jethro Tull is. It said Jethro Tull, baptized March 30th, 1674. And he died on the February 21st, 1741. But he was an English agriculturist from Berkshire who helped to bring about the British agricultural revolution of the 18th century. He perfected a horse-drawn seed drill in 1700 that economically sowed the seeds in neat rows, and he later developed the horse-drawn hoe. Tull's methods were adapted by many landowners and helped to provide the basis for modern agriculture. So, for instance, as you're looking up the first person that planted a seed, they're like, we can't give you that, but we can give you information on somebody that has provided knowledge and technology to give us modern agriculture. So that was pretty cool to know. And again, anytime I would have heard Jethro Tull, for certain I would have thought it was a band. But maybe I'm just a jackass. Tell me if you knew who Jethro Tull is. In the comments, let us know if you know who Jethro Tull is. If not, tell me the first time you heard Jethro Tull. You know what I mean? Because, for instance, I'm 32. So I'm just now hearing about Jethro Tull. Did you learn about it in like 7th grade? Which, again, I mentioned I spent a lot of time in the fucking library closet thing. What does that sound like? Does it sound like a clicky? Does it sound like a clicky lighter? Yep. So, dude, some of the other things that I noticed recently, have you guys seen those fucking cars? Have you? Okay. Jesus Christ. Have you noticed how there are different colors for, like, say, Toyotas, Kias, Fords? So there's like a number of makers that are now displaying different color options than we've seen for a long time. So, for instance, you'll see those Kias and they have this like mustard yellow, and it stands out a lot. You know what I mean? People don't really have that color of car. It's not like a yellow, like a sports car Corvette yellow or anything like that. It's like a fucking mustard. That's the best way I can describe it, yellow. And it's like a Kia thing. And so, for instance, I've seen this. Dude, the goddamn fucking router in here sounds like an F-18. Of all the fucking things to do any acoustic treatment on, never in my life would I have thought the fucking internet router was going to sound like an F-22 about to fucking take off out of Fort Zancudo. Like, I didn't have any idea that was going to be something I had to deal with, and it's ridiculous. It's been working overtime since well before, and I think there was a couple episodes ago, and it doesn't matter. I don't know why I say that. I say that because I fucking know. Maybe this is your first time tuning in, and I welcome you, and I appreciate you, but I was like a couple times ago, like, what the fuck is that sound? Like, what's happening? And I kept putting my ear down to the computer and stuff, and then I realized it's this router. The router is so loud. I need to like put a box on it or something. Oh, I should totally do that. I could totally do that. But actually my first thought was that it was being loud because maybe it wasn't breathing right. So covering it up in a bunch of shit would certainly not improve that. If I was right at all about that it wasn't breathing right, and then I cover it up in a bunch of fucking, I don't know, those things that you see. We have them on the ceiling. Me, my son, me and my fucking son that comes into my studio here. Yeah. I don't know. I always say that. Like, I'm like, hey, fucking send us an email. Send me an email. For some reason, there's these new car colors, and they are really cool. But then here's the deal. Now I've seen them all over the place. You know where someplace you'd see them? The gray one, the new like gunmetal gray, or like fucking flat gray, I don't know what you want to call it, but it's these new Broncos. So the new Broncos, one of the most popular colors that I've seen is this like gray color, and there's Toyotas that have the same gray color. And so like, first, fucking cool, man. Like, that's really cool. Like, I think even some of those new Jeep trucks, I think they have some very, I mean, their blue is just like a blue, but it seems like a blue that you don't see that often. I think one of them has a lighter blue too. I don't remember who it is. But my thought in saying all this is like, the more and more I see, the less fucking cool it is. Like, it's like almost like it's really great that they introduced all these new colors, but it kind of seems like maybe they need some more or something like that. And I know that's such a dumb thing, but I've certainly noticed that. I'm just like, man, it seems like, and you guys should tell me if you've noticed that, like, what's the most prominent one that you've noticed? And again, if you haven't been paying attention, I think some of the makers to pay attention to are like Ford is the biggest one I've noticed. And again, if you haven't seen some of those new Broncos, but it's like a gray, it's like a flat gray look. And then same flat gray that you'll see in these new Toyotas. And then again, I think it's like a Kia that I've noticed that like mustard yellow, you know. But we could even no, it doesn't matter. I'm like thinking, is it worth? I was gonna type it in, but it's not worth anybody's time. It's all good. That's funny, but dude, there was a thought I was having, and I know it's just like something that normal people do, but I like, you know, there's a lot of people that actually make a good living buying and selling shit, right? Or buying and reselling things. And so like, even just the idea of selling my own shit sounds like a good idea sometimes. Like Breck's clothes, for instance, my son's clothes. Sometimes he grows out of them so goddamn quickly, or his foot size grows so quickly that sometimes it seems like a pair of shoes he may have worn like one or two times. So it's like, one, I could sell them on the internet, right? And then just have to pay like the shipping or whatever, and you know, at least make a little bit of your money back. Or two, take them to like Goodwill or something like that, you know, and then you're just, at least you can give them away. But like, I can't fucking just garage sales. I don't know why, man. I think they're so fucking gross. Everything's still dusty. Like, for some reason, every time, everything's still dusty as shit. Like, people even barely clean their shit off. It's like they literally just took all the old nasty shit that they no longer want in their house, and now they're gonna just throw it on their fucking lawn or in their driveway, and they're like, yeah, hand me money. Like, I don't know. My point in saying that is, like, I've certainly thought about wanting to sell my stuff, and I like the idea of possibly like selling it on the internet to somebody and sending it to them. But the idea of like doing a garage sale has always just, or going to garage sales. Dude, my grandma used to drag me to fucking garage sales. Or those little thrift stores, like she would call them thrift stores, but it's not really thrift. It's like it's like Goodwill. It's like they got the stuff for free and they're going to charge you a little bit for it. And then they have a lot of volunteers and some people that they pay by the hour. But otherwise, they're going to make a shitload because most of everything they sell is free. They just gross me out. I hate used stuff. I hate used books. Used books for some reason. I hate the smell of a used book. It's the most disgusting thing ever. I fucking hate it. I can't stand it. It's disgusting. It grosses me out. It makes me just think of old shit. I don't know why. It's just so gross. I think of like dirty people's hands. I think of people in the bathroom. I think of like somebody eating food and not washing their hands, having like some greasy, nasty food and then not washing their hands and touching the pages. And then it smells all bad and weird for some reason because where they kept it, they probably kept it in their gross car. I'm sorry, that's fucking high decibels, yo. High decibels of fucking crinkly, cracky water bottle. I should just get a filter. I told Breck, we talked about that. I've installed some back in my plumbing apprentice days. I was able to assist in some installations of those. For instance, some people, they get to a point where they don't want to filter it as it comes out of the faucet, so they will just have all of the water that comes into their house get filtered as it comes into the house. And then they have these big systems that you just kind of, it's not actually that big, it's very small. It's much smaller than a water heater, for instance. Probably like the size of a TV, or one of those fucking Tesla things that you see they put on the walls. I think it's like a solar battery, actually. Probably just one of them, but TV is something that more people have, and I don't actually even know how big one of those Tesla batteries is. I've just seen it on the internet, so I don't know why I use that, because it actually hangs on a wall and it looks similar size. That's why, I guess, because it's doing the exact same thing that, what are we talking about? I lost it. Garage sales, dude, don't like them. Think they're disgusting. It's summertime now. People are out. It's not summertime, but it's basically spring, summer, whatever. It's warm. It's time people are doing garage sales. I can't stand it. I think they're gross. I don't know why. It's just like so rarely, should I say, is there anything good there. And I guess it's that whole one man's trash, another man's treasure. But, I just think it's disgusting. I hate them. I think they're gross. I think the whole idea is gross. And even I remember like being on the other side of it. People like they barter. They like want to barter. So like in the one time or few times or whatever that I've ever done it, people don't even want to pay you like the fucking nickel you want for your bullshit anyway. It's like, I don't know. I'm a positive motherfucker, aren't I? Yeah, that's how I feel too. Nice. Yeah, just had that thought. Don't like garage sales. I don't even like seeing them. And then like you'll see people have like their kids there like playing with this other person's dirty shit. Like, dude, you don't know what they've been doing with that shit, and now you got your kid playing in it. And I guess I'm just assuming because I'm not stopping, but I see some kid playing with the stuff, and it'd be weird to have your kid playing with the stuff that you're trying to sell. So I guess I imply, I guess, no. Not at all. My inclination, is it inclination? It was probably an inclination. My inclination is to think that, I think that applies. I'm not fucking looking it up. To think that those would be somebody else's kids, and then it's like you're letting your kids play with somebody else's dirty shit that they don't want anymore, that they threw in their lawn, that you just are going to give them some money to pick up out of their lawn. Like, I can't get on board. And if I was, but even still, no. I was gonna say if I was like, and I'm probably there now. I was gonna say if I was super desperate, but no. I would just you would rather like try to save money for just something quality, right? Why buy something used for $10 when you get a brand new one for $20 or something like that? Would be my thought, No idea what item we're referring to. Who the fuck? Me. I'm bad at that, dude. I'll always say like we or us for no reason. Like with nobody. It's just me, dude. It's just me here. And you guys. Dude, I remember this one time. My buddy Brent, and I've told stories about him before, but I spent a lot of time with him. And there was this one situation where, like, for instance, we were up in the mountains camping, and all of a sudden this family, like, came up to us, and they had, like, kids in the family and then a mom and a dad that were there. And at one point or another, the mom and the dad either pretended to or actually just like went away from the camp. So they said they were going to go away from the camp for a little while. And so we're all just kind of around the fire. And so whether they went down the road, went to their car, went into the forest, you don't really know if you're right next to the light and they kind of go into the forest. But then one of our friends ended up in the tent with their daughter. So I think the first person that approached the tent was her dad, the man that was with us. And again, all these people just came out of fucking nowhere. I think what they had told us is they were looking for a campsite. They were looking for people that they were trying to meet up there. But once you're out of cell reception, you're pretty much just whoever you find is who you find. So they like approached our fire and we were like, yeah, party with us or whatever. Maybe that's where they left to. Maybe they left to continue to try to find the other camp. But my buddy was in the tent with their daughter. And then so I think the dad came up to the tent, right? And he like came out, my buddy did. And basically then the girl came out and it ended up being a whole deal. They tried to leave, but then the girl's boyfriend showed up. So not soon after that, the girl's boyfriend showed up, and he showed up with like, I mean, literally I've never seen people more tattooed. So just like total, like had like, what is it? Like G13 or whatever the fuck it is, like literally tattooed on their skulls. Like it was a group of people that nowadays I'd be so scared and I'd be getting out of there so fast. But at that time I was dumb. And what I'm about to say is, I wanted everybody's approval, but god damn it, don't we all still all the time? I just think it'd be silly to say that I don't still want people's approval, because what the fuck am I doing? Right? So it'd be a hard argument to make. So I'm not gonna say that, but that was the idea, right? It's like I thought I was cool enough for some reason to hang out with all these gang members, and this guy that just showed up while his girlfriend was in a tent with one of my friends. And so the boyfriend was pissed, right? But my friend is just like, one, he was entirely too confident, and two, he knew he could back it up. And so he just kept telling this kid, like, you're gonna end up on the ground if you keep talking shit to me. And the kid just kept talking shit, and he's like, you're gonna end up on the ground. So at one point he just literally threw him on the ground. And it was interesting, like basically all he did is he like put his foot behind the kid's two legs and pushed him down with his arm. So as he was pushing the kid away from him, the kid was tripping basically on my friend's legs. That's what it looked like to me. And I could totally be making that up. But basically multiple times as they're sitting there talking shit into each other's faces, he just throws him to the ground, and so fast that the kid either couldn't step back or didn't step back or wasn't able to undo what was happening to him and just fell to the ground. So then eventually it's like, okay, they're going to fight him. But I think it doesn't matter the order, but one of his friends either fought first or fought second. No. And it was definitely second. So I guess that ruins it, the first part of the story. But my friend, he kicked the boyfriend's ass, right? Like immediately kicks the boyfriend's ass. And then he's like just like pounding some 40, and he's literally probably so high on obviously adrenaline or whatever happens. I've never kicked somebody's ass, so I don't know what that feels like, but I'm imagining you could probably get a pretty good endorphin rush or something like that. Maybe some oxytocin, some whatever it is, whatever would happen if you kick somebody else's ass. Well, he's feeling pretty good, right? And then so one of the other kid's friends is like, okay, I want to fight him, and he's like, I talking shit, right? And so he's just like keeps talking shit, and so the kid's like, no, I'll still fight you. And you would think that like any sane person would be like, I want a break, right? Like you would rather have a rest because you just literally fought another person. So dude, I don't know. Fuck. I have a story about me, but it doesn't matter. I was going to say about you could underestimate your strength, right? And he's already been through one fight, so it'd be easy to be winded at that point. He's not winded. He fights this other kid. I remember him beneath this Pathfinder, this white old fucking Nissan Pathfinder. I say old, but it was probably like a used car at that time. It was probably early 2000s, right? Slamming this fucking kid's back of his head into the back of this Pathfinder, and he's got he just destroying this kid, right? So he's now kicked the boyfriend's ass that came and found them in the tent. He's now kicked the friend's ass, and then when that kid gets up, both of them try to jump my friend. The gang members pick them up off of my friend and start beating the shit out of their own guys. And they were like, no. They were like, you do not fucking get your ass kicked and then jump that guy. They were like, no fucking way. And it was crazy. Like, again, nowadays, I would get chills just being in the presence of these type of people because I'd be fearful because I'm such a bitch, and most guys probably wouldn't admit that, and I shouldn't say that, but I know it doesn't make me sound cool to say that, so I guess I say but anyway, to see them kick their own guy's ass because they're like some sort of code of honor or whatever it is, when they're like, no, you guys both just got your asses kicked one-on-one, and now you're gonna try to jump this guy together, and to see them, like, that's who they came with. Again, guys with fucking tattoos on their bald skulls, dude, like Cholos, like fucking hardcore gang members probably. It was really cool to see them do that, and that was just probably one of many nights that my friend led me into. It's really dumb. There's this movie fucking like, I think it's like Dallas 362, and it probably has no relation whatsoever, but he just said that like his friend was just walking him down the middle of the road with like his arm around him, and he somehow felt safe, and it was like, that's the way I always felt with Brent. He was just so confident, and he had every reason to be, and he was such a good guy. That was just crazy to see that. But there's probably a lot of details that I can't remember. Yeah, like I remember, oh my god, so when that girl came out of the tent, she didn't have her pants on. I remember this. So fucking, and it was and I'd hate to think if this guy's watching this, because like he knows, but I guess if I don't say his name, it's not bad or whatever. But there was this guy, one of our friends that was there back in the digital camera days, which I have a digital camera, but I think my phone's probably 20 times better than the digital camera. I'm gonna carry my phone anyway. There was a guy just fucking videoing this girl that came out of the tent, because she came out of the tent with her pants off, and he was just videoing her like with a light on the entire time, like totally creepily. And so many of us noticed, and we like talked about it later. We were like, dude, did you guys notice him fucking videoing? And it was just like, because you know what I mean, it's like clearly that's not what was on her mind, was to be like, is anybody around here have a fucking camera on with a light videoing me as I'm half naked, exiting this tent. But he was fucking, I was gonna say he's on it, and that's not good to say, but somehow he was able to get his, like, it wouldn't even occur if I'm observing that, I was there. It never even fucking occurred, and like it would have occurred to me. It didn't occur to me to pull out my phone. It didn't occur when fucking cell phone cameras were horseshit at that time, so it wouldn't have done anything anyway. But my point in saying that is like, that's not what I was thinking about. And my point in saying that is I just remembered that on the fly. But there's probably a lot of details to that story that I don't remember, because it was such a crazy fucking night, especially like all those guys just coming out of nowhere. And I remember a lot of like, yeah, it doesn't matter because I can't remember the details, but I heard Bert Kreischer say a good important thing to a story is to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I didn't really tie that one up with a good bow. I guess the bow would have been, when would it have been? It would have been after he kicked. It would have been after the Cholos kicked those guys' ass, and then I just shut up. And people get it. People fucking get it. They get it, right? Yeah, I get it. I get it from seeing it. Like, yeah, you're like, yeah, dude, you should repeat it. If it's so obvious, you should repeat it. You should repeat what you think in your head, you dumb motherfucker. I'm sorry. Sometimes I think. You know, it's a weird thing, and I was thinking it's totally like it's inconsistent, but it's almost like I feel like I have an interesting theory that I wanted to air, and I think you guys should respond in the comments, and you should tell me. And it's pretty easy. You can just say, like, you know, so it seems to me that if you're kissing, the right thing to do is eyes closed, right? Like, I remember this one time, and it's dumb to say, but it's the truth. I hadn't nothing had happened in a really long time, right? It's funny. I'd actually just came back from this like camp my parents had sent me to. So I was there for like 8 months or whatever, right? But at any point you can get out of practice of anything, right? And if you're not doing it for a long time, you can kind of, so I remember I was in a hot tub with all my friends, and they were on the opposite side of the hot tub. And so I was kissing this girl, but I had my eyes open. So I was basically staring at all my friends on the other side of the hot tub, and it was really weird. So my point in saying that is like, it would be easy to say that in that situation, eyes closed, right? Eyes closed is the right thing to do. But I think if things escalate and you get to a point where, like, say you've gone further, eyes open. Right? Because then when you, isn't it weird how I think when you get to a further point, or maybe even what some may say all the way, eyes closed is considered disrespectful at that point, right? So isn't it interesting? I just thought how, like, it goes from eyes open, creepy, to eyes closed, disrespectful, just depending on the phase in which you're in. And I just thought, I don't know. Interesting how that goes. Interesting how the further you go, I don't know. What is that? Why is that? Is it just so obvious? But what do you guys think? It's definitely, it's kissing eyes closed all the way, eyes open, right? Or am I wrong? Is it, that's what I think it is. But you just tell me. Tell me what you think. You can put it in the comments. Send us an email. Send me an email. Send me an email. See, that's what I mean. I can't remember to do that. I can't remember to. I say send us. I don't know who we are. I don't know who, me and the fucking energy thought pattern in my head. I don't know. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. During the break, I tried to look up some of those car colors that I was trying to find. After further review, they are fucking badass. They really are. I really do like all the colors, and that's probably why they draw your attention so much. It just seems like you see the same fucking ones over and over again. And I realized the Bronco has like multiple different grays, so it could have been the carbonized gray or the cactus gray, which is either one, probably what I'm seeing. I'm not sure exactly which one it is. And then it looks like those Toyotas, they have a number of grays, but I think it's going to be the magnetic gray metallic. The other one, I guess, was the celestial silver metallic. But I'm guessing it's that magnetic gray metallic. But again, even those ones they're pretty cool. Or like they have that basically lime green one. I don't even know which one it is. And then one called like Lunar Rock. I don't know. That's probably the blue one. I bet that's the blue one. But I don't know. They are pretty cool, actually, after further look. It's nice to see different colors. It seems like car colors have been the same forever. I always try to get, I don't know, it doesn't matter. I'll just say from my years of cleaning cars, the darker the color of your car, the harder it is to keep clean. So like super black cars show dust really easily, and they also have to be polished consistently to stay looking pristine. Whereas like a lighter white, silver, or beige colored car is going to not show dirt as well, which is really fucking weird. And it also doesn't, my eyes keep twitching out. So like I see that too. I don't know why it is. They keep like fucking, I should be blinking, but they feel like they're blinking in like fucking multi, what do they call that? When the camera goes like a bunch of times all at once, the camera fucking flashes like a bunch of times all at once. I guess this is camera flashing. This is, yep, the fucking alligator hands. Alligator hands is camera flashing. That's nice. Get the American sign language. Yeah, fuck that up. Oh well. No idea now. Nice. Yeah, I don't really have anything else. There was one thing I was thinking, but it just sounds so cynical and dick-like. But I was just thinking, like, how many... Oh, I should... Yeah. I'll put the thought together. I am a cynical asshole, but you know what I mean? It's like I could at least take some time to have some thoughts. Because doesn't it seem like the first thing you think of? Because like I said, and you guys should let me know what you think about it. Did you first or at any point think that the Oscars fiasco between Will Smith and Chris Rock was staged? Or am I just crazy to have that thought? But like, again, my first thought in that scenario was it was staged. And it took a while for me to think that it wasn't staged. And if somebody told me it was staged, I'd probably be like, fucking, I knew it. You know what I mean? Even though, like, I'm saying later, I was like, okay, it probably wasn't staged. Only because I don't know why I really think that. I don't have any good evidence. I guess just because, like, everybody freaked the fuck out about it. But that doesn't really mean anything. Will Smith apologized. Even if it was fake, he would have apologized. I guess more so because it didn't, I don't know. Chris Rock didn't look like he was getting fake smacked. He looked like he got real smacked. And then he looked like he kept the shit together. So, anyway, you should let me know if you thought at any point that was staged or fake. But yeah, I just find that my first thought is not always the best or a good one. I need to take some time. So, yeah, that's all. But anyway, thanks, guys. Appreciate you tuning in. Hope you come back next time. Trying to get these out more often than a week. Never know how it's going to go. But I hope you'll come back next week. And hope you'll subscribe. And hope you like the video. And can't wait to chat with you again. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.